Meeting of the Mount Pleasant Planning Commission is now called to order. Ms. Parvati, will you please take roll call?
Commissioner Devaney, absent. Commissioner Farley.
Here.
Commissioner Havels.
Here.
Commissioner Irwin.
Here.
Commissioner Kingsworthy.
Here.
Commissioner Leash.
Here.
Commissioner Ortman.
Here.
Commissioner Friedrich is absent. We have a quorum.
The first item on our agenda is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in, then motion passes. So next item,
All those-
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Approved. Okay. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the April 3rd, 2025 Planning Commission meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the Zoning Board of Appeals report. Mr. Havel?
Madam Chair, we did not meet.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is communications.
We did not receive any communications, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. The next item on our agenda is the public hearing for SUP 2505, a request for special use permit for a short-term rental. Ms. Polvidiko, if you would please introduce the item.
Yes, so we have short-term rental cases tonight. So the first one is the applicant Shashko Genev is seeking approval for a short-term rental located at 617 South Main Street. The goal is to have another option for renting the property while not occupied by students during the summertime, or for when the owner is also unable to find a student tenant for one of the rooms. This is an existing rooming occupancy dwelling. They have the rental license from the fire department for a while, at least since 2008, which is what we have in the SNA. And the house is an existing 2,500 square foot. And the house has one bedroom, one bathroom, the living room, dining room, laundry and kitchen on the main floor. And then on the second floor, there are additional 5 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. And in that bathroom upstairs, the bathroom separated has like different separation for showers and toilets. So 2 showers and 2 toilets. So it is a 6-bedroom house. So the applicant is not proposing any building or site alterations at this time, but has indicated that he would like to pave the driveway as he makes some income from the Airbnb rentals during the summer. So as you can see here on the map, the property is located along Main Street between Cherry and Maple. The properties on the north and east are single-family homes, and then to the south and west are rooming dwellings. We have the future land use mostly being attached residential along that frontage of the street, except for the east side, so the property behind the house that is future land use residential. The zoning is currently CD3, but due to the future land use map and designation regarding attached residential, all these properties will be eligible for CD4. So these are the current conditions viewed from Main Street looking northeast of the property. So you can see how he has already a sign there for rent, and then we posted the land use sign on the premises. This drive that you can see here on this picture is for the other house, so it's not a drive that they utilize. Their drive is on the north side of the property where the yellow sign is. These are the current conditions viewed from the back of the property looking west to the parking area. So you can see how the driveway is just a gravel driveway right now in the parking area as well. And then you can fit around 6 cars on this parking area. And the applicant has submitted a drawing with measurements as well. So when looking at the general standards for special use permits, I'm just flagging here the item that has the condition of approval on the right side of the image. So that is for any special use shall not be hazardous to the adjacent property or involve uses, activities, materials, or equipments which will be detrimental to health, safety, or welfare of persons or property through the excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, odor, fumes, or glare. I just put that as a flag mostly to ensure that we are not putting any traffic issues or bringing a lot of cars on the road, depending on how many tenants they get or guests during the short-term rental stay. And then for the specific requirements, the condition of approval that we flagged over there on the second row is that any outdoor area intended for congregating of guests, in this case, the porch, the front porch, shall be sufficiently set back from property lines. In this case, the south property line it's pretty close. You have that drive that's pretty narrow for the single-family house that's after that drive, and actually it's a rooming dwelling after that drive. So in that case, this rule will kick in, requiring that the porch be screened or buffered with a fence wall or landscape screen to minimize sounds and light, not disturb neighbors, etc. And then the driveway and off-street parking areas shall be laid out in a manner as to minimize on-street traffic congestion to the extent reasonably possible. So again, that's a condition of approval here, and I'm going to explain more in the next slides. Overall, staff is recommending approval with conditions because the house is between CMU campus and downtown, so it is from a walking distance from downtown. Obviously, proximity to downtown Mission can help support local businesses. This is a general statement that we have for Airbnbs or short-term rentals in general. And then while the house has a rental license with the fire department for a long time now, so it's a legally non-conforming rooming occupancy, the rental license says that he can rent for 9 occupants, up to 9 occupants for a long term. But we did talk with the applicant, and he indicated that he will not be announcing to rent the property for more than 6 occupants. And this is to try to avoid any type of partying or, a large amount of guests that could come for a short period of time. So with all of that, the recommendation is for the Planning Commission to approve SUP-25-05, subject to the following conditions. The applicant shall not allow more than 6 occupants in the short-term rental. 2, the applicant shall comply with the zoning ordinance requirements by A, installing a bicycle rack for 9 bikes on the premises, and B, buffering the south side of the porch with an evergreen hedge. And 3, the applicant shall comply with the requirements of building safety, public safety, and public works. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Povidakil?
I have a question. The limit of 6 occupants in the short-term rental, would that be 6 occupants when there are other like student rentals in there? So you could potentially have 6 individuals in one room? Or is that a 6 occupant total?
That is a very good question. When we were talking, it was the understanding that it would be 6 occupants total.
Okay.
So right now, he has 6 occupants as a long-term rental. And in the past, this particular owner has owned this property just for not more than 2 years. So he did have, I believe, last year, 7 at one point. But he did say that right now he has 6, and when he rents a short term, the overall total would be no more than 6. So if you want to tweak the conditions to make sure that that's what we say, that could be a recommendation.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else has any preference on that, but
I mean, I'm cool with how it reads, but if you want to make an amendment to it, by all means.
I'm just curious too, is this intended to have rental or occupancy during the summer months when students aren't around? That's what, okay.
Yeah, mostly is for the summer months. So this owner, I believe, I would say that compared to other student rentals, this owner doesn't have a lot of property, is the only property that he has. So, I think other companies usually like to reserve the summertime for renovations. But in this case, he would like to just earn extra income during the summer.
okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any more questions for Ms. Povidakil? Okay, if the applicant is here, would like to come up?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here. You can see me now too, right?
No, but we can hear you.
Okay,
Should be putting you on the screen shortly.
all right. Yes, so if I can speak now.
Yes.
All right, so as Manuela said, the main reason why I wanted to get a short-term rental license is because I've been having trouble renting it out to students for long-term, mostly because of what I find the competition from the apartment building complexes. So as Manuela stated, this is my only investment property, rental property. So it's my first time doing this, and it's going to be an extra revenue stream that I really can benefit from.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, does anyone from the public have any comments or questions?
I just have a small, does he need to state his name for the record?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, my name is Sashko Yanev,
And then address too, please.
1009 South Kenya Ave, Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone online that wishes to comment?
There's no one on Zoom,
Okay,
and I don't see any emails.
okay. Seeing no one here online, close public comment. And do we have a motion on this item?
Maybe Christine, can you repeat the opening of public comment period just to?
Oh, okay. We'll open public comment. Okay, and seeing nobody, and then no one was online, so we'll close public comment. And do we have any motion on the items?
I'll motion to approve special use permit 2505, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall not allow more than 6 occupants in the short-term rental. 2, the applicant shall comply with the zoning ordinance requirements by A, installing a bicycle rack for 9 bikes on the premises, and B, buffering the south side of the porch with an evergreen hedge. And 3, the applicant shall comply with the requirements of building safety, and public works.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Next item on our agenda is new business. 2020, is that? No, we have 2. Yes, I was gonna say, SUP 2506.
All right, so just waiting for the slides to come on the screen here. All right, so the next applicant that we have is Amanda Sims on behalf of 7038 West Blanchard LLC, seeking approval for a short-term rental located at 813 and 815 Whitney Street. The goal is to have the option to utilize the property for short-term rentals in the future when long-term renters move out. The existing 2,848 square foot building has 2 units, so it's a duplex, and already has, both of them already have a valid rental license through the fire department for 1 family or up to 2 unrelated occupants per unit, and is therefore classified as a 2-family dwelling. Both are 3-bedroom units on this parcel. The applicant is not proposing any building or site alterations at this time. However, the owner applied for the Streets Department tree planting program as requested at the pre-application meeting with staff. Due to the available 3 species in 2025, the Streets Department was unable to supply the owner with a tree as the available species could get too tall and disturb power lines. And I'll get back to that as I go through the presentation. But this is the map where the parcel is located, and you're going to be hearing this case 2506, and the next case SUP 2507, which will be immediately north of this parcel. So the surrounding context, we have the duplex on the north, and then on the south, a single-family dwelling, and on the west is a triplex building. The future land use is to remain residential under CD3 Residence District designation that we already have. These are the current conditions viewed from Whitney Street looking northwest. And the conditions viewed from the back of the property looking southeast to the small patio areas. So as you can see, it's just a little cement area where you can put just a few, seating, small table kind of thing. So when looking at the general standards for special use permits, like the occupancy is going to be capped by one family or up to two unrelated occupants. The applicant is aware of that when the announcement is made at any short-term rental website. So I don't see any issues from a general sense in terms of impacts on surrounding properties. When we look at the specific conditions, again, I'm calling out just the outdoor area intended for congregating guests. And then I'll be suggesting vegetation to help screen the outdoor gathering spaces from adjacent properties. So specifically for the site, the neighborhood already has several duplexes and rental units. So this is pretty much in context building on the premises. And then the short-term rental is not going to be altering, again, the number of occupants allowed over there. And we do not expect an increase in any amount of vehicles. In fact, usually we get lower amounts of vehicles when we get guests on the short term. Outdoor gathering spaces are very small, so I don't see a lot of issues. And the site is really big, so we have a big buffer, especially towards the west, where we have the triplex building, and there are mature trees and landscaping that already buffers that area. So with all of that, staff's recommendation is for the Planning Commission to approve SUP-25-06, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall comply with the zoning ordinance requirements by A, applying for a right-of-way permit to plant one small street tree along the frontage, and B, buffering the north and south sides of the 2 small patios with a fence, wall, or landscape screen. 2, the applicant shall comply with the requirements of building safety, and public works. That concludes my presentation in this case.
Thank you. Any members of the Planning Commission have questions for Ms. Palvi-Dyko? Okay. If the applicant is here, if you'd like to come up, and please state your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Amanda Sims. My address is 1052 Pueblo Pass, Lake Isabella, Michigan, 48893. So they're currently rentals, and we're just looking for another option to be able to do short-term rental if we can't find a renter. We've had some not with this unit. This unit has been easily rented. We rented it. We have a 3-year lease, and we have another 1-year lease where the gentleman's actually on his 2nd year. So there's not any rush to do anything. We just want to be able to have the ability to do it if we choose to at a later date. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I just did that backwards because that's the next one we're going to talk about. But this one right here is the 3-bedroom, and this one we've had trouble renting. The one has been available since November, and we just rented it in March. So we were looking for an opportunity to be able to short-term rental if we couldn't find a renter.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm now open for public comment. If anyone from the public would like to come up and comment.
Ray Davies, 1338 South Crawford Street. Anyway, I'm just wondering, with both of these applications, I've noticed there seems to be more applications for short-term rentals that I'm seeing at these meetings. And the way it's presented is we're only going to use it as a backup if we can't find renters otherwise. Is that pretty much just a good faith statement by owners, or is that a kind of a policy in these things? That's just a question that I have, so.
Thank you.
Say my name again.
Yes, please.
Amanda Sims, 1052 Pueblo Pass, Lake Isabella, Michigan, 48893. So we have several rentals. I have some rentals that are short-term rentals and I have some rentals that are long-term rentals. I have a short-term rental in Harrison that we just started this year, and the first few renters that I had actually rented to come do things in Mount Pleasant. But there wasn't a lot of options for short-term rental in Mount Pleasant, so they couldn't find anything. So when we were struggling to rent this unit out, we said, well, why don't we turn it into short-term rentals? So that's kind of where we are. I would prefer long-term rentals because it's a longer amount of income that you have and it's steady, right? Short-term rentals not. It's up in the air just as much as it is good. So that's kind of where we are at when it comes to it. We want the ability to be able to do it if we can, if we need to, but I'd much rather have long-term rentals at that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone online?
Can I speak?
We have one comment on Zoom.
Okay.
State your name and address.
Sash Koyanev again. So yeah, I just wanted to answer the question. It's basically the same answer. I've been struggling to find renters. I posted because the current tenants didn't want to renew the lease, and I knew that since September last year. So I posted the house for rent in October, and I couldn't find any renters until this month. So now I have another batch of 6 students for long-term rental. But I think that this is going to be a good thing to have for the future in case of I struggle again to find long-term rentals. As the lady said, I very much prefer long-term rentals. But in case I'm not able to find them because of the pricing or the competition, it's definitely going to be a benefit for me to have this license so that I can post it on Airbnb on Vrbo.
Thank you.
Thanks.
There's no one else online or on email.
Okay, then I will close public comment and open discussion.
I'm gonna move to approve SUP 25-06, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall comply with the zoning ordinance requirements by A, applying for a right-of-way permit of plant one small street tree along the frontage, and B, buffering the north and south sides of the 2 small patios with a fence, wall, or landscape screen. And 2, the applicant shall comply with the requirements of building safety, and public works.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next on the agenda is SUP 2507.
All right, so for this project, we have the same applicant, Amanda Sims, on behalf of 7038 West Blanchard LLC, seeking approval for a short-term rental located at 817 and 819 Whitney Street. The goal again is to have another option for renting the property if long-term renters move out. This building has 2,800 square foot as well, but it has just 2 bedrooms in each one of the units. So it's a 2-bedroom units. The applicant has recently modeled the units on this building with updated kitchen and new countertops, and is not proposing any other building or site alterations at this time. The same applies regarding the street tree program. We didn't have any plant species that would give the option to have shorter trees, so the street department could not provide free trees for this particular property. So we're going to see the same conditions. So this is where the site is, immediately north of case 25-06. And you have on the north, single-family buildings. On the east and south, duplexes, and on the west, another single-family. The future land use for the whole area is residential with CD3 zoning district. These are the conditions viewed from Whitney Street, looking southwest. So you can see how the building is smaller than the other one. And the conditions viewed from the back of the property, looking southeast. So here you don't see, you can see that we don't have any outdoor patios, but the applicant has referred to spaces that are located along the side of the buildings on the two sides. And it's really a little concrete square where you can fit a chair if you want to just stay outside a little bit. So no red flags regarding the general standards for special use permits. And I didn't see any particular issues with the specific requirements as well on this page. The same analysis since they are buildings one next to the other. And again, the patios are even smaller. So with all of that, the staff's recommendation is to approve SUP-25-07 subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall apply for a right-of-way permit to plant 1 small tree along the frontage. And 2, the applicant shall comply with the requirements of building safety, and public works. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the Planning Commission have any questions for Ms. Palvideco? Okay. If the applicant would like to come up and please state your name and address again.
Hello, Amanda Sims, 1052 Pueblo Pass, Lake Isabella, Michigan, 48893. You all know where I live now. This is just the second duplex that's right next to each other. This is the one that we redid. We actually had hoped to be able to do this maybe like a 30-month lease and furnish it, but we ended up with really good tenants in it right now. So we have a 3-year and someone who's been there for 2 years now. So we just, again, wanted the opportunity to be able to do short-term leases if we needed to in the future.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I will open public comment. Anyone from the public who would like to comment? Anyone online?
There's no one on Zoom nor an email.
Okay. I will close public comment and open discussion.
Gonna move to approve SUP-25-07, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall apply for a right-of-way permit to plant 1 small street tree along the frontage. And 2, the applicant shall comply with the requirements of building safety, and public works.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is new business of the 2026-2031 capital improvement plan. Ms. Palvideco, if you'd please introduce the item.
Yeah, so tonight here I have the Finance Director, Lauren Pavlovsky, and City Engineer, Stacy Tawari, to provide this presentation to all. The City Engineer will be available for questions. So just to give the background on the CIP, so each year the Planning Commission reviews and provides feedback to the city's capital improvement plan. The CIP includes projects that have a useful life of at least 10 years and cost in excess of $20,000, and that are tentatively planned for the next 6 years. So per the city charter, the capital improvement plan is prepared by the city manager and adopted by the city commission. The city manager has released the proposed 2026-2031 plan, and it can be viewed online at the finance department webpage by clicking in the 2026-2031 proposed capital improvement plan link. The website, in case anyone would like to access right now, is www.mt-pleasant.org/CIP. So, Ms. Pawlowski, you can start your presentation.
Hello, thank you for having me here tonight. I'm Lauren Pawlowski, I'm the Finance Director here at the City of Mount Pleasant. This is my first time in front of all of you. So I started here back in January, so I'm fairly new to all of this. I'll give you my best that I can on the overview for the projects. Tonight, we're gonna look at, the presentation overall is gonna go through the updates for the 2025 projects that we have, that are in progress right now or are being worked on or planned to be worked on. We'll go through the 2026 projects by department. We'll look at any changes from the prior year. I'll do a quick summary of the projects outside of the 2026 year, so 2027 through 31. And I'll also introduce you to what the next steps will be after this meeting. As Manuela has mentioned, the characteristics of a CIP project looks at the original construction or subsequent improvement of a building or land, the equipment the equipment with a useful life of 10 years or more. It costs at least $20,000 and is a project that could be spanning multiple years. The sources that are looked at when planning the CIP include the City Commission goals, the master plan, the Parks and Recs master plan, the tax capture district plans, PACER ratings, and sidewalk and alley inventory. In the large document that is online on pages 3 through 9, there's a cash flow projection that looks at the summary of all of the available funding and all the different projects. We do summarize everything in these few pages, but that helps make it easier to evaluate the financial impact and timing of the proposed projects and to make sure that each fund is adequately funded at that time. Some projects are reliant on grant funding and donations, and other projects can be impacted by future bonding and project consolidation. So the key considerations that are looked at for each individual project is the affordability, the reserve need, and if the grants or donations to assist with the project are available, and if there is a time limit on those grant and donations to be spent. This slide basically is showing a list of all the 2025 projects that are either currently been completed, are in process, or are in the plans in the next few months to be completed by the end of 2025. And there's quite a few of them right now going on. In the next slides, I start breaking out by department what we're going to be looking at for the future projects that we have. In 2026, we are looking at building projects that total $1,466,000. This includes a project for windows and doors replacement for City Hall due to the current windows being from 2007 and showing signs of deterioration. And the retaining wall for $1.4 million, and that includes the replacement of both east and west historic walls, the short wall, and the adjacent sidewalk and streetscape. There is a project on there for the city clerks, and this project is for $120,000. It's to replace the election equipment that we have currently. We have 8 machines that will no longer meet the standards required by the state and federal governments as of 2026 and will need to be replaced. We have the downtown projects that total $296,000. The first project we have on the list is an alleyway renovation for $266,000. This is related to the alleyway between Michigan and University and has been delayed until 2026 due to an easement determination. There's also a downtown improvement project for $30,000. And this is a continuation of the repair and replacement for amenities based on the location and need. This includes landscaping, trash cans, electrical outlets, benches, bike racks, and such. We have parks projects that total $202,949,000. We have a Chippewa River bank protection for $610,000, and this is included for the Mills Pond Dam repair and the pedestrian bridge abutment protection. There is a medium-sized project for $54,000 that is for the roof replacement of the Chippewa's restroom and shelter. The Mid-Michigan GKB pathway connection for $2.1 million accomplishes several purposes by adding trail connections, trail connecting to the GKB River Walk Trail to the Mission Creek Trail, and completes a needed connection for Union Township. The playground equipment and universal access for $40,000 is a continuation of the universal access to Island Park per ADA transition plan. And the renovation of park roads, lots, and trails for $145,000 is for a mill and overlay for Nelson Park and Park Shop area parking lot. We have public works projects for $329,000, and this is sidewalk replacement for a sidewalk replacement project for $150,000, and is to cover the replacement of sidewalks in various locations based on complaints and or the PACER ratings. And we have a storm sewer collection improvement project for $179,000, and that's for engineering and drainage improvements for Franklin from Preston to Bellows. The airport projects total $3,430,000, and this would be for a runway rehabilitation project for $3.2 million, and requires removal and replacement of the current pavement, and a snow removal equipment project for $230,000, and that is for the purchase of a broom to replace the 20-year-old equipment that's currently in use. For the 2026 years, there are no local streets projects related to resurfacing or reconstruction. We do have major street projects for $2,107,000, and there are several different sections. I believe there's 5 of them that are planned to be worked on. Water projects total $568,000. The first project is for a chemical feed pump replacement for $40,000, and it's to replace the sodium hydroxide and ferric chloride chemical pump. There's a distribution system replacement for $60,000 to replace some valves to ensure the reliability of the system. There's a meter replacement project for $348,000. This accounts for the water portion of the meter replacement project, and it's shared 50-50 with the Water Resource Recovery Facility portion of that as well over the next 4 years. This is to replace the current meters with new meters that will increase the accuracy and availability of real-time data while reducing the reliance on the manual data collection and entry that we currently have. And you will see this project also noted on a future slide with the Water Resource Recovery Facility projects, and for the same amount. The source water equipment replacement for $120,000 is a rehabilitation based on the results of an inspection and the rainy recharge channel dredging. The Water Resource Recovery Facility has projects for $797,000. This includes facility improvements projects for $275,000 to replace the flare for the digester waste gas, a lift station improvement project for $74,000, and is for either the complete rebuild or replacement of both storm pumps at Pickard. Again, I'm mentioning the meter replacement project, which is the other 50% of that project for the next for each year for the next 4 years. And we have a reconstruction and relining project for $100,000, and that is for the clay tile sewer lining replacement as necessary. So some future year ongoing projects that we have include projects that are not that are ongoing and recurring. They're not limited to, they include but are not limited to street reconstruction, sidewalk replacement, sewer and water line repair and replacement, park trails maintenance, and building maintenance. We have some future one-time projects that are noted in the 27 through 31 plan. And these include, and are not limited to, the vehicle storage shelter, the next part of the Michigan GKB pathway connection, and the airport runway rehab. I did want to highlight a couple notes on some of the major projects that we have going on. The Mid-Michigan GKB pathway connection projects have since significant costs in both 2026 and in the future year of 2028. Currently, we have the funding for the 2026 plan, and it's leveraging grant dollars heavily through grants that have already been secured. The 2028 portion of that project would require grant funding to ensure the completion of that grant, but we cannot request the funding from grants until we use up the 2026 dollars. So right now, the timing on that or the scope of that project could change depending on what is available for the grant funding and what we need to match out of our capital improvement fund. Our street and sewer funding. I am teeing this up because I will probably have a conversation when it comes to budget time to talk about how the sewer funds and the major and local street funds are tied together. Right now, we do have a fund that we contribute every year into the storm sewer fund, but that fund is building up because we have timing issues on what we're able to spend and pay for the street side of things. Without doing the streets, we can't do the sewers. So right now, because we have limited funding related to the local and major streets side of things, and we can't do full reconstructions, we can't get into the storm sewer, so that fund keeps building up. In future conversations about the budget, I'm gonna look into seeing if we can better tie that out to make sure that we're not overfunding the storm sewer and underfunding the local and major streets. And lastly, there's a significant number of water projects requested from 2026 through 31. The projects noted in later years could potentially be included in the phase 2 of the bonding for the water plant infrastructure improvement project, and that could significantly impact the timing of those projects planned out. So at the end of the large document that's online, there is a table 6, and this table 6 looks at projects that were considered but not planned for the next 6 years that we have in there. They were likely not planned into the project due to funding constraints or because we don't have enough information about them. So this is something that as we modify our plans, these projects may or may not come to fruition. Earlier this week, we did have the work session with the City Commission. Tonight's a presentation with the Planning Committee. If there are any questions regarding anything that the City Commission had questions on that was unanswered on Monday, there will be another work session on May 12th. That's still to be determined. We have set the public hearing for May 27th regarding the CIP. It is required to be adopted by the city charter on June 9th with the City Commission meeting then. And the projects from this will be considered into the 2028 operating budget that's going to be submitted on September 8th. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to finalize my memo, so there is a requested action in front of the Planning Commission tonight. It's for the Planning Commission to review the proposed 2026-2031 capital improvement plan and provide a recommendation to the City Commission regarding the adoption of the plan.
Do we have any motion on this item?
I'll motion that we approve the capital improvement plan as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is public comment. So members of the public are invited to come forward and ask general questions from the planning commission. Anyone online?
There's no one on Zoom nor an email.
Okay. We'll close public comment, and next item on the agenda is staff report.
So very quickly, this is the first time that the Department of Planning has provided this feedback to the Planning Commission. But we have been doing a customer survey after in the end of the year or beginning of the next year to survey any customers that came through the Planning Department or Building Safety Department for approvals or even consultations under the pre-application meetings. So we did receive very good rating, very good answers. We have some questions that are yes or no, or selection questions, but then we do allow applicants to write at the end of the survey, and you can see the copy of their responses. It has been really positive. It was positive last year too. I haven't done the same reporting back, but I'll start doing this as we move along. This is best practice from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation Redevelopment Ready Communities program that we are certified with the state and got the 5-year renewal just this year or last year. So yeah, just wanted to provide that. If you have any questions, let me know.
Anyone from the planning commission have any questions? Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, if there's no further business, want to entertain a motion to adjourn the work session?
adjourn.
Second.
I don't need to do all those in favor, do I? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Okay, and then do we need a break before we go to work session?
Motion to get a glass of water.